shine.
And any well-known players in that team?
Yes, let me bring up the roster for you right now, so I can tell you as we are heading to Brax's Holdout. I would like to point out Battlefield's available, but they choose to go to Praxis.
My goody goodness, ladies and gentlemen, this is the newly revamped Braxis Holdout with stronger Zerg waves for the losing team in terms of, Zerg progress. And of course, the newly designed beacons that will go to a neutral state as long as one hero of each team is going to have a foot on it.
And we have here, time to shine, by the way, is Earth Guru Dreamy, who is now known as Rat God, Ulf, and Zhuf.
Nice. All right, man. Good achievement by them taking down the All-Star team of the Open Division. Was it close or was it actually pretty one-sided?
It was a 2-1. Well, some of the matches did look quite one-sided, though. This is definitely the shakiest E-Pump's Black looks, and I think there was a little thing with I think, Sonic feeling a little ill. But either way, a loss is a loss, as we do have TheOne, who have suffered their first loss in this series. They need to take one map. That's it. One Braxis Holdout win, and they go to Eastern Clash in first place. SPT, though, it's their map choice.
All right, SPT tries to shake things up a little bit here by going to Braxis Holdout, which is by no means a standard map up to this point, although the changes that we just mentioned have made the map a little less snowballing, I believe, especially in pro play. And what kind of pocket strategy are they going to bring to the table, or are they just going to play it standard? Maybe we're going to see another appearance of Chromie.
We're going to have to wait and see. This is... I don't know. For starters, I don't know why the draft hasn't started yet, but for second, that seemed like a fluke. That seemed like a draft fluke to me. SPT have the potential, but the fact is they need to be able to actually finish the job here, and only one map. This is their map choice. They hopefully have a plan, but this has not been their best success map. It's not the worst by a fair amount. In fact, Braxis Holdout, they hold a... Actually, no, wait. Oh, no, it's the entirety of China. I need SPT. Hang on. I'm looking at wrong stats.
All right, you can see the trophy there as well, looking mighty good in my opinion. And also, we're going into that draft. Tetcher will have more statistics for us about SPT's Braxis performance.
Only 2 times this phase, 100% win rate. But that's obviously a very low sample size.
Very low. Probably did it against teams that might have not necessarily been favored against them either. So they were probably just getting away with more easy victories. Now they face the top dogs. Now they face a pretty steep hill to climb. And let's see if TheOne themselves are familiar enough. Has TheOne actually played in this map at all this phase?
I will load that up for you. I also just quickly checked. The first time SPT played Braxis was against the A team, where they ran a Phoenix Hanzo Yarel comp. The second time was against Beyond the Game, and that was their Sergeant Hammer comp that absolutely dominated.
Yeah, and they might have had the advantage of the surprise element there with Sergeant Hammer not being, the mainstream in China. Up to this point, though, a lot of teams have seen it. A lot of teams have played against it, so it's not an immediate guarantee for success, right?
Indeedy. So, let me quickly check. TheOne have played Braxis 1 time and have a 100% win rate.
Huh. So, one of those records is going to get broken one way or the other. Let's see which one it is.
With Deckard Cain coming in very early for TheOne. Remember, this is a really good hammer map. And Deckard Cain, one of the best supports to go with the hammer, potentially the best support these days to go with that Sergeant Hammer. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them either pick it up in the first rotation or ban it out, because guess what? SPT didn't first pick Chromie, so you can very easily go for Sergeant Hammer right now and then ban Chromie.
All right, exactly. You could do that, and I wouldn't actually hate to see it. But then again, we haven't really seen a lot of Sergeant Hammer play coming from TheOne. Meng likes to play it every now and then, but the Rainer already is a pretty decent counter to it. Not necessarily in terms of, out DPSing a hammer, but a well-played Rainer can actually use his Q and knock the Sergeant Hammer out of range from certain abilities or certain structures, right? So no longer will Sergeant Hammer then be able to continue the siege. Needs to unsiege, needs to re-siege, and that all takes some precious time that the enemy team can use to really put the pressure up.
With the hammer on the board, what do we see from SPT? What is the next ban? It's going to be the Malthael. removing Hugo's hero. He's lent on this very heavily today. So they want to win the solo lane. And there's the Chromie ban. Incredibly sensible from TheOne. Now we'll probably see SPT probably bring out the Yrel or maybe even the preemptive Leoric to try and counter the fairly inevitable Yrel.
All right. If we see the Yrel locked in Tetra, I'm going to go out on a limb here and I'm going to call the Illidan for Hugo.
As a solo laner on this
As a
map.
solo laner, yeah. I haven't seen an Illidan-Yrel duel yet, but I think it could actually win.
They're hiding it. I can see why you would think it. Well, they're hiding their solo laner for now. They're going to be the sensible play and play reactionary. So now TheOne can just take Yrel. The Gul'dan's cool to see, though. Good map to stack on, especially against a hammer. Thrall and Falstad. Falstad coming in once again. But the Thrall, probably a little bit unexpected for SPT.
And you know what? You know why SPT didn't pick Yrel there immediately? Because I think they know that Hugo doesn't play it. We have never seen Hugo on Yrel before, if I recall correctly. He either doesn't like the hero, he doesn't feel comfortable playing it, or maybe the team as a whole doesn't respect it as much as they should respect it. For now, though, Thrall coming in, definitely a good hero for Hugo, but this weakness, in hero pool might really cripple them because they had that golden chance of dominating the top lane with Yrel.
You are correct, sir. There is no Yrel play at all on the board here for Hugo. I would like to point out that, just to point out the absurdity of that, he has played heroes like Cho, Arthas as a solo laner, Lucio,
Tyrael.
He has built in for his team, Tyrael, Sonya, 35 games on Sonya, but that, to be fair, is also last season stuff as well. He has played some weird stuff, but he just does not touch the Yrel. You bring up an excellent point.
Yeah, and at the very latest, at the Eastern Clash, when facing Korean teams, that could really cripple the entire team of TheOne, because if they don't play it themselves, they're going to have to ban it, or they're going to suffer the consequences of facing Korean Yrel players, which is already mighty scary. Ladies and gentlemen, though, we're going to go over to Brex's holdout, potential match point for TheOne. Can they bring it home, or is SPT going to stabilize and tie out the score 2-2? TheOne on the left-hand side in the blues once again, with Hugo on that Thrall. Muggle is playing Falstad this time around. Meng on Sergeant Hammer. He's on Johanna, and ZJZ on Decker Kane.
And on the right, looking for the reverse sweep, it's SPT with Lucky on Gul'dan, Melody C on Reyna, Misaka on Diablo, Soap on the Yrel, and ZZH on Malfurion. And Gul'dan could be exactly what they need here. Overall, in terms of comfort picks, I think SPT kind of have a home run. In terms of whether it will work, if they're going to be able to break through to that Sergeant Hammer with the Johanna in front of it, I have my concerns. However, Gul'dan seems like it could be a very effective tool.
Now, what's great about Gul'dan into the Sergeant Hammer is, of course, when Sergeant Hammer is sieged up, you have all the time in the world to drop your corruption, right? The problem is, I'm not sure if corruption damage alone can actually, force the Sergeant Hammer away, because there's a Decker Kane right next to her, and one potion or two are probably going to be enough to actually deny this corruption damage. So let's see. Here goes the first corruption in. Raynor actually jumping on top of it as well. 50 armor now available, and the blinds coming in from Hehe on the Johanna. And Sergeant Hammer walks away pretty much unharmed, and that's exactly my big fear, my worry for SPT. By the way, Hugo, he is in the 4-man and went for Crash Lightning. Falstad the solo laner.
So smart. I love this. The issue we had of maybe he can't lane against the Yrel, whatever will they do? Maybe he can't play it, so he's picked a hero that won't lane that well. No, maximum baitage. Falstad at the solo lane. He is the range solo laner, so we can try and dual soap that way. And we're going to have a lot of Crash Lightning stacks.
Yeah, Crash Lightning is definitely going to ramp it up in that bottom lane, and SPT is kind of committed to dealing with that hammer, right? So that means there's always going to be enough targets for Thrall to actually land that Crash Lightning on. In the meantime, I'm a little bit worried about Falstad. Muggle actually took some heavy damage against the Yrel. Melody C now even showing up as well. Beautiful mount synergy, by the way. Looks great on Raynor. But yeah, Soap is just indomitable on that Yrel, and I'm not sure if even a ranged hero like Falstad with Muggle playing it can actually do it.
Excellent question. Meng for now. Pinging in the shots. No potions applied yet. Right now, they're actually being given over to Hugo. Now we're seeing a couple coming down. Armor applied, that 50 armor, no siege tactics yet, so you can just use it to block some damage. Corruption comes out though. Potion will very much assist with that because that corruption, those stacks gonna come very quickly because Hammer is so immobile, and that damage output is gonna get very, very big.
They're going to have to rely on the level 4 here, the shielding potions as well. That's going to block a little bit of extra damage coming in from the Gul'dan, right? But at level 1, or before level 4, I should say, it's still going to hit like a truck. For now, though, Hugo taking most of that Gul'dan damage. Almost infinite sustain for both teams here. Both Malfurion and Decker Kane have such low mana cost, but look at that. The 2-man pressure in the top lane, chipping down tower after tower. And the 3-man defense actually coming in from SPT is looking mighty good.
It's very smart. 1-man extra pressure. We have going with Regenerative Biosteel, by the way. Not going for the cleanse. Good knockback there onto Diablo, who tries to move forward, realizing there's no siege tactics. That's very interesting. But yeah, this is smart. Having 2 people up here means Thrall gets less stacks. But this Regenerative Biosteel is going to mean the Hammer is just going to push even further forward, even more aggressively here. Misaka eating those Hammer shots, getting in as much damage as possible. He can just run up to Hammer right now. It's all down to Johanna now to really zone people away from the Hammer.
Right, in the meantime, all that Muggle is trying to do is, of course, survive for now. Hugo on the Thrall is already on his way, though, trying to balance things out here in a 2v2. Can they actually get anything done? Yeah, Ford is down to half health, and when Hugo is helping his buddy Muggle in trouble, then guess what? He's not going to be able to do that easily, getting Crash Lightning stacks.
Yeah, especially with these minions here. Good route, though. Minions dropping low. If they died off, Soap would have been taking that Fort damage. Fort now down to just over a quarter health. That's the objective. It's finally started being taken. Meng using that armor to block the corruption stacks, because this is really the biggest threat. So it makes a lot of sense. This Regenerative Biosteel, I quite like this pickup.
Yeah.
We see Misaka desperately trying to delay and fight for this. Is Hugo looking to maybe dual melee C, but realizes that Muggle is still low.
The main problem I'm having right now for the lineup of TheOne is that false stat, right? We haven't seen anything out of that hero up to this point. He's losing the solo lane 1v2, mind you, so we can't really blame him too much. But even in a 2v2, he wasn't able to add anything to those fights to really put the pressure on heroes like Raynor, for example. Great roots on both supports, actually, and Diablo is dropping dangerously low. He will get healed up by that healing fountain, though.
Raynor coming down finally to help his team, so we're back to the 2v2 as top fort, the 1v1, sorry, and the 4v4 as top fort was taken down by that 2-man push. Very effective, and that's such a level lead for SPT. But it's not helping against this Hammer. It's a slower push, but one that's gaining so much value right now from TheOne. Diablo tackle onto Hammer. Hammer does not really care. Takes a fair amount of damage, but is able to get out even without siege tactics.
Yeah, siege tactics were used before to basically take reduced damage from that duel against Raynor. So, of course, immediately Misaka on that Diablo and the follow-up of SPT, they smelled their chance. Now, the problem here for SPT and TheOne actually is that both supports are dropping dangerously low on mana, which means no more sustain, and the team that is going to out-sustain their opponents in the bottom lane is going to take that beacon as well. And that's exactly what's happening right now. ZJZ needs to go all the way back to base, no more healing fountain value, and Soap is just pummeling poor Muggle in that top lane.
Graduating range coming in here for Sergeant Hammer. It's a full laning setup, which can make sense. The map is mostly lane, as we do see top retaken. That's the double channel. Diablo piling on the pressure, looking to gain advantages elsewhere, as we do see Misaka though in a little bit of trouble. Hugo coming down, health pulls still a little low, but Decker is here. Need those potions.
That they do. Decker Kane is definitely missed here. Hugo actually getting saved by Misaka here, but Irel is already pummeling him.
With Johanna down, where's the front line for Meng?
Wow.
No longer exists. Volstad being zoned away from top lane as well by Yrel. This is looking good. The Zerg wave coming in for a super perfect team.
Now, Falstad gets a little bit of reinforcements from the Zergs himself here. That is, of course, one of the changes now on Brax's Holdout. Even if you have 0%, you're going to get a little bit of extra value there with a Hydralisk in the mix, with an Ultralisk as well, supporting your push a little bit. And that is why Falstad can now play a little more recklessly, a little more aggressively against that oppressive Yrel. Misaka going in for Meng in the back line.
Meng unsieges. I don't actually think he even needed to, but he's going to play it a better safe than sorry game, as this fort will likely fall, but the majority of the Zerg has already been cleaned up. Nice job here by the defensive play, and the harassment coming in from the Hammer. Graduating range extends one more range level, and as such can begin to ping Misaka.
And look at Melody C, man. That Rainer is completely untouched. There's no threat potential whatsoever. Melody C just does what Melody C pleases at this point. He shoots down the Thrall, which is once again in trouble. The range is not good enough, though.
Oh, boy. Nope, no Iron Skin. And he gets lightning breathed for good measure and is taken out. Sergeant Hammer delays really getting any shots here, repositions, and they finish off what's left of the Zerg wave. But level 10 to level soon to be level 11 to level 9 in favor of SPT.
Yeah, all right, man. SPT, they're looking good now. This could be the full 5-game set that many people and many fans out there were looking forward to, right, guys? And I couldn't complain. You know, SPT, they deserve this. Definitely true, not only because of immaculate drafting, but also with impeccable style in those games. He almost walked into the trap there of the super perfect team. And once again, Tetcher, I don't understand. Whoa, wait a minute. Sacred Ground. Are they going to get this boss? Yeah. Are they going to fight over it?
They're going to try. Vending Wrath being used here. Zoning away. Falstad could try and move in here. They don't have Gust. They can't make a play. Boss is taken.
Ooh, the determination and...
good timing.
Good timing, as you said. Beautiful. Sacred Ground, we don't really see that talent a whole lot of times because it hasn't really looked that good in history, in the most recent history, right? But in those situations where you just try to force a play and you want to become this immovable object, I'm digging it.
As am I. Looking good, TheOne. Sorry, it's the SPT, thanks, Brain. As the boss pushes through the non-existent top fort. And TheOne have to move into the defense position. We don't see the Gust anyway. Hinterland Blast coming out here.
Wow, it really looks like they want to brute force their way through, right? With more burst damage, even more synergy with that BFG. Now, on the other hand, all of a sudden, I'm starting to feel a little worried here for SPT. If that combo lands, you know, on a Rainer, even the sail field provided by the Adrenaline Rush is not going to be enough to power through.
The armor being applied by Yrel to the rest of the team. Boss gets taken down. Thrall doesn't even get a Crash Lightning stack.
Now, how much damage will TheOne be able to muster, especially Muggle? He needs to finally show us something to validate that Falstad pick, because honestly, right now, that is a dead pick. Doesn't add anything, loses the solo lane, no team fighting value up to this point either. So maybe now with level 10s online and the team grouping up for the first time, he can really convince us and show us why they were willing to draft the Birdman.
11 versus 12 in terms of levels. Hard CC, sort of non-existent, it's all down to the sleep and kind of the Blessed Shield. That is their engage tools here, as TheOne playing the slow game, clearing up the Merc camp. They have control of bot. They might just try and let Falstad fly in and try and make the play that way. Sacred Ground is used here as they begin putting on the pressure. Scroll of Ceiling does just catch Yrel. A little bit of anti-healing as well. Good lines. Meng is very happy just to eat the corruption stacks by the looks of it here. Falstad going to reclaim top.
That he's going to try, and that he successfully does. And good luck trying to push away Soap from that point, right? He doesn't even move out. He doesn't even need to. Even with that jump with the Avenging Wrath, he stays in range and will keep those 40 armor points.
And this is the idea for TheOne. They seem to be happy to soak here. They have Falstad was able to take top. Now they can see that Yrel's up there. Falstad might fly bot and they might try going for the 5v4 pre-level 13. That might be the play here. But Falstad, he stays top lane, keeps clearing.
I don't know what TheOne is trying to achieve here, because eventually they're going to have to face 13 towns, so maybe that moment in time where Yrel was showing top lane, that was really the time window they needed. But they just are so passive. This is not the one we're used to seeing normally.
There's a beautiful Horrify Lightning Breath, and Meng is down. Falstad just refuses to use this global, is going to lose against Yrel up there, and that's going to be the double channel coming in for SPT.
Why would you even pick a Falstad on a 2-lane map if you don't use the global? I'm starting to get really confused about the way TheOne is presenting themselves here. They really needed to open that window. You know,
numbers top. They were 3-13. That could have been their perfect time to fight, and instead they keep clearing a single minion wave.
Exactly. It would have been a different story, Tetra, right? If this was a 3-lane map and Falstad would double soak or do some mercenary camps in the meantime, but he's not even doing anything along those lines. And now look at that channel. It's going to be a full Zerg wave yet again in favor of SPT. They're just, you know, pushing all the right buttons in this game.
I hope there's something I'm missing, because I'm currently a little irritated. As we do see the BFG comes out, going to clear or weaken a fair amount of the Zerg wave, being used sort of like a Phoenix, laser. Firecracker. And Hinterland for the exact same style hit. Double heroics used to clear the Zerg wave. That's a very weak Zerg wave now. The keep might live. I like that.
Yeah, it's a big commitment on the one hand, but as you said, it's a pretty good measure to protect the structure, to protect the keep, right? No Horrify available. Actually, Horrify, mind you,
shield,
is
Earthquake.
Available.
Horrify is used. Both the damage dealers get zoned away. Hammer resieges. But that Bless Shield turnaround, the Earthquake, is zoning them away. The keep will survive. Graduating range is just short of hitting the Guardians here, so they'll be able to clear that up. In the meantime, the Zerg wave of the one is actually still pushing into that bottom lane. It's going to finally get cleared up, but eventually. But overall, that was a decent defense. Nice use of the heroics there by the one.
I will agree with you. I think this was a pretty solid defense, but now they need to be on the lookout here. Look at SPT and what they're trying to do here. Rotation, formation is going to be the name of the game here. Let Hehe go in first. Hugo, maybe, you know, if he drops in a Feral Spirit, there we go. They're not falling victim to those hidden, sneaky ambushes here. Good awareness, but already SPT back in 2 lanes. Muggle hiding behind the terrain here. He's smelling something, right? Why would there be a lone Gul'dan in the lane if there's no other teammates nearby?
Corruption comes out. He dropped low, tanking through for the moment. They're going for this cam, but, well, SPT are here. They're relieving talents. You actually have everyone here for once. If you want to fight, now's a okay time, I guess. They begin to turn around. Everyone is very grouped. Down goes Hehe. The BFG gets some good value onto Melody C, and Hinterland just short of landing. Melody C able to dodge away from that, and Hugo will fall as well here off to the side most likely, unless he can find a good way out. Nope, Avenging Wrath picks up that kill.
Yeah, Muggle may have been a little late there, but his Hinterland's Blast was also still on cooldown right at the beginning of the fight. So maybe he was a little too afraid to actually use it immediately. He came off cooldown, and now look at that long time window with the one not having full heroes, still waiting for cooldowns on their work abilities. And SPT is doing the exact right thing. They're unleashing the Archangel boss yet again. Beautiful team fight. Horrify didn't even need to be used. Now, I really want SPT to not waste this opportunity, right? 16 is going to be here soon. If they push with that boss, then the additional structure damage in the top lane might actually be enough to give them this talent advantage.
Hammer's already sieged up. Graduating range is ready. Falstad is back to split soaking, clearing bot lane.
Yeah, I really like what SPT is doing. Instead of going, you know, for the bottom half mercenary camps, they push with that boss. They do not let this objective go down the waist. Let's see if they can get the keep. I think they should be. Perfect angle for the Archangel boss.
Hammer opens fire. Hammer out of range of the Archangel boss, has to move back. As the mines come in, do a little bit of damage. Hehe in trouble. Iron Skin is used. Keeps safe, at least for the moment. Hammer resieges. That is also out of range of the Archangel boss when it moves in this angle, and even with the graduating range.
Oh, the core's going to take so much damage from the broadside here of that boss as well. The one they're trying to siege up. Is it going to be enough, Tetcher?
I mean, maybe. They've already killed Johanna. They're just moving on the core. Lightning Breath is used. The boss is still full. That's it. SPT take game number 4. And we are heading to a 5th game, Kendrick.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Looks like we're still going to need a little bit of additional time to find out who is going to become the champions of China. Though one, we actually thought they were the best team by far. You know, they were indomitable, but yet they show so many signs of weaknesses, especially on that game when Brax holdout, and they just keep going for these weird false stat picks that had no effect whatsoever. I mean, we talked about Muggle showing up big time, improving so much, but in this game with a false stat, don't do this again.
They've forgotten how that Falstad has a global. That seems to be the case. I just really don't know what was going on there. That's 2 games in a row now with the exact same thing.
I mean, sure, you don't get to play Braxis all day, every day in professional play, right? But you should know, you should be aware of those basic things, right? Use the globals here and just pick a good soul laner. They could have picked the Irel for themselves, but guess what? Here is one of the core, crucial, elementary weaknesses of the one. Hugo doesn't play it. And how many times in the past have we criticized Hugo's hero pool? You know, he being that 1, 2, 3 trick at max. And now, once again, one of those weaknesses shows up. The one not being able to adjust the current meta in time. And they don't pick Irel, and they suffer.
And as such, who are we going to give the MVP to there? That is...
Probably Yrel for just bullying the top lane and proving to be indomitable. Gul'dan maybe for holding the lane against 4 in the bottom lane all the time. Great Horrifies as well, unlucky. There's a lot of people.
The Horrifies are really good. That's an excellent point.
Yeah, I mean, from start to finish, you really had this this feeling, right, that SPT knew exactly how to approach this map. They had the blueprint there, you know, double lane against Fawcett to make his life even more miserable. Raynor and Yrel, they just demolished the structures, while in the meantime, the 3 versus 4 could still be held and actually won in a certain degree because of Gul'dan's outstanding wave clear, right? And the corruptions always just tickling and pressuring that Sergeant Hammer ever so slightly. I just really like the performance by SPT here on this map. That was their moment of shining.
Agreed.